Hi there everyone, my name's Mary and today we're going to have a look at some useful tools and yoga poses that we can do for our upper curve if you have scoliosis. So I've got scoliosis myself, quite a severe curve. My main curve is in my thoracic spine, giving me a winged shoulder blade, and not so much anymore, but I used to get that burning pain just around the shoulder blade, especially when I'm kind of like hunched forwards. And it's actually probably one of the most asked questions that I get about how can I stop that burning pain in the back of my shoulder. Because with a winged shoulder blade and with a bigger curve in the upper spine, we can get quite stiff and rounded in our shoulders. And so, as I said, these are some tools that I do to help reduce that and keep it at bay as well. I'm also a yoga for scoliosis teacher and teach classes online every week, so you can find me there as well. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these tools, and these tools might be a little bit different, or it's taking a little bit of a different perspective on how we address an upper curve by looking at the extremities a little bit more. So with that, the first one is going to be, we're going to do some trigger points. And then we'll do a few movements that will help to release a little bit of tension in that upper back as well. Okay, so for the first trigger point, or trigger points, because there's one on either side, is the sternocleidomastoid muscle. It's a muscle that runs down from your skull all the way down in towards your rib cage. And you might not automatically think up curves give tension in your neck and that can relieve tension in your shoulder, but the neck carries a lot of tension because it can compensate because of the upper curve. Okay, so it's kind of a roundabout way. It's very difficult to target just the spine because of our movement patterns, but it's a lot easier to target, as I said, our extremities, our neck, our arms and our legs. Okay, so how do we find the sternocleidomastoid? So, as I said, there are these two either side muscles running down either side of our neck, and they actually help to lift the ribcage as we're breathing, and that can all get a bit stuck around there as well. So it might not be as easy to find, and if that's the case, you can turn your head slightly through the jaw, and it will come out to the side like here, down here, and then it runs all the way up, as I said, towards the skull, and then you can draw your head back to center. So just have a little bit of a play around as you turn your head and turn your neck and then turn it back. You might find that it's a little bit tender, and actually that's on both sides. I find it differs between each side. So my curve goes around that way, so that's my concave side, my left side, my right side is my convex side. And both sides are tight, but in different places. So have a really good explore around in these muscles. Okay, so you can start low, because it's easier to find it down there. And then what you're going to do is take your thumb and your index finger and use them as kind of crab claws, pincer grips. And just give those muscles a little bit of a squeeze and a knead around that area. And if it's really, really tender, then ease off a little bit. Just move down, and maybe keep your fingers in that space and turn your head instead. So we're trying to get movement back into these neck muscles because they can really compensate for the upper curve. Also, if you're sitting a lot, counterbalancing that forward head posture. Okay, so something to remember is this is accumulative. It's not going to have, it should release some tension kind of straight away, but these kind of things, if you do them little and often, as I said, they're tools that you can use on a regular basis, and it's accumulative. So over time, it just starts to release a little bit more and ease that, a bit more release a bit more tension to ease the compensation within the neck. Okay, so carrying on with that pincer grip down here. And as I said, you can turn the head from side to side to get a little bit of movement in there, maybe even dropping the head down and back up. And then you do the same on the other side. And then to build that awareness, just notice the difference between each side. And as I said, each side is a little bit different. They both hold tension, but in different places along that muscle. So down here it's not too bad, but up here, as I get a little bit higher, it's really quite tense. So you can spend a little bit more time in these tension spots if you want to, but it's worth exploring up and down the muscle, like the whole muscle. I used to find that the muscles around the collarbones, around my collarbones and upper ribs were really stuck, and I couldn't work out how to release them at all, and I had to do things like shoulder mobility and back bends and things like that. But actually the thing that has released or brought a little bit more movement around here, which has helped me breathe a lot better, is this. So that pincer grip with the thumb and the index finger running up and down. And don't forget that movement, you can move from side to side, take it slow, don't rush this. And just explore the movements that bring about some tightness. For me, may not work for you, so just explore the different movements of the neck and really to kind of just take it slow. If you're just doing like little quick pinches, that's always quite stressful on the muscle. Take your time, feel it out, and if there's any tense spots, then you can kind of just knead backwards and forwards around there. So take your time with that. Excuse me. The second one is we're going to have a look at the bicep. So with excuse me, with my upper curve, especially my wing shoulder blade. So if your wing shoulder blade is on the left, maybe spend a little bit more time on that side. But my shoulder blade wings out. Excuse me, my chest gets quite stuck, and then it can't really move, and I was forever trying to stretch my chest, but actually the key was my bicep. And it got really kind of lumpy and tense because that was doing way more work and that was stuck, and my bicep was compensating because my chest got stuck. Okay, so getting into the bicep muscle, and again just giving that a little bit of love. It might not feel like love if it feels a bit intense, but giving it some attention and bringing intention to these muscles that can get a little bit ignored from an awareness point of view, because somewhere else is doing all of the work. So give that bicep, again it's that pincer grip, give it a little bit of a roll backwards and forwards, move your hand, move it up and down, do both sides. You might find some stiffness in the other side as well. Do a rotation as well, rotate that arm backwards and forwards from the elbow. Give your wrist a little bit of a circle so the hand is very linked to everything up the arm in regards to how we move. Okay, you might feel that that's starting to kind of ease off a little bit on the shoulder already. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at what movements we can do to help mobilize that upper curve and those muscles in between the ribs, and of course the shoulders as well. So we're going to take our hands across not actually across our shoulders, just lightly on our biceps, that taking them onto your shoulders can promote a little bit of rounding in the shoulders. We do enough of that already when we're sitting and typing and whatnot on our computers. So take the hands, I like to sit my hands just lightly on the biceps. And what we're going to do is move through the range of movement in the thoracic spine, which isn't too much. There's a little bit of, it's a rotation, okay? The other thing is to be mindful of your upper curve. So again, as a reminder, and this is many people's curves as well. I think it's a little bit more common for the curve to go out to the right, but if it goes out to the left, I would advise you to be stretching out the opposite side. So here's what I mean by that. As I said, my concave is round like that, so I'm going to lean to the side. So I'm going to keep my hips really glued to the floor, both sides. I'm not going to tense through my bottom muscles. I'm going to keep my hips relaxed, but keep both sit bones glued to the floor or the blanket or whatever you're sitting on. We're going to lean to the side. Just make sure that your chin is staying as central as possible, because again, that head can compensate. So you're lifting up from the bottom rib. Then you're rolling forwards, and you're only going to go as far as the opposite knee. Okay, because we don't want to accentuate, we've already got a curve there, right? You're not going to accentuate that. So taper that for which side your upper curve is on. And then we're going to go back round to the side and then back. So there's a little mini back bend. Round and then stopping there. So we're not going into our natural curve, we're not going into our dominant movement pattern. We're trying to actually move out of that dominant movement pattern and then back. Okay, so take it slow. Try not to really think, oh, I need to stretch out those ribs so much, because this can feel quite intense, especially if you're new to movement, or you find that the muscles between the rib cage can be a little bit stiff. The movement is really important, but don't go too deep too fast. Take it slow, building up. Okay, and when we're doing this, so we're going to do this between 5 and 8 times. We're going to breathe in and out through our nose with our mouth closed to promote that diaphragmatic breath. Okay? To get the most out of this movement. Round. So you're kind of just doing a not even a semicircle, a rainbow. And you're moving through a rotation. So you're coming forwards to the side, lift from the bottom rib, don't lift from the hip. Keep that glute down, lift from the bottom rib, come back, and round. So breathing in and out through the nose, trying to keep that chin in a central position, running down the side of, keeping it in line with your sternum. Okay, so we're not just moving our head backwards and forwards, which can take over a little bit, especially if we're a little bit stronger and compensatory in the neck. It's the rib cage that's doing the work. Keep that lower rib gently drawing down. I've lost count. Let's do one more. And down. And then just take a little bit of a moment to round the back, because as I said, that can be quite intense on the muscles in between the ribs, the intercostals, as you're starting to open them up. Okay, and then the next one, we are going to work on the shoulders to counteract some of the rounding that can go on with scoliosis, and again with our daily habits of doing too much sitting. Okay, so you're going to come to the floor. You can grab a pillow for your head. I haven't bought one because I'm not organised. So my head's just going to dip down so I can be I can show you what you don't really want. So you want a head under your pillow. You're going to have your hand with the palm facing up in front of you. And actually you're just going to take a look at what your elbow is doing and gently take the pointy bit of the elbow into the floor. So what can happen in our arms is, or what does happen in our arms, especially with an upper curve, is compensatory rotations in our arms, in our other joints, our elbows and our hands. So as a bit of a guideline, it can be quite good to take the elbow just gently down into the floor, palm facing up. Okay, other hand goes on top, and make sure you've got enough room behind you. You're going to reach forwards, and you're going to lift up that point of the elbow as well towards the ceiling. So both elbows are active. You're going to take the fingers so they make a rainbow shape above your head. Once your hand gets to your ears, turn the palm so it's facing up and reach to the side. Doesn't matter if the hand comes up off the floor, that's fine. Go into a T shape. You can take a little twist with the spine and then come back to centre. So we're going to move forwards a little bit. So we're going to do that 3 to 5 times. That was one. Fingertips on the floor, draw a rainbow. Turn the palm so it's facing up. Reach to the side, let the rib cage open. Into a T shape and then back. 3. Turn the hand so it's facing up. Keep reaching, keep that elbow active. And back to centre. 2 more times. Reach forwards, draw a rainbow. Palm facing up. Open the rib cage, keep the elbow active. Back to centre. And one more time. I really like this for getting into the chest muscles, but also opening up the rib cage as well and mobilising that. And back to centre. Good. Okay, you're going to lay on the floor and you're just going to notice the difference between each side. And again, if you have an upper curve, if you have a winged shoulder blade and you know your curve quite well and one side is tighter than the other, then you can do 3 on one side and 5 on the other. I think it's helpful to do both because you can again build that awareness, see where it needs a little bit more work or a little bit more opening, and you can taper that for yourself over time as well, so that you're using your self-knowledge, self-awareness to work on the differences between each side. But I generally feel that you can get something from every single exercise on both sides. You just have to approach it in a different way. Okay, laying on the other side, we're going to do exactly the same. Point of the elbow, gently going down in towards the floor, palm facing up. Cushion under your head if you've got one. Hands on top of each other. Point the elbow joint up towards the ceiling with the top hand. Reach forwards, draw a semicircle or a rainbow. Palm turning up towards the ceiling. Try and relax and lift that bottom shoulder if this is on your concave side. And then back to centre. Okay, you do this 5 times. Turn the palm up. Try and relax your inner thigh. Get into a T shape, back to centre. 3 more times. Reach forwards and round. Open up the chest. Keep both elbows pointing down into the floor so the elbows are active. Your joint is supported. And back to centre. And one more time. Breathing in and out through the nose, tongue to the roof of your mouth. Making the most of that diaphragmatic breath. And exhale, back to centre. And then just take a lay down and notice the difference. Hopefully your shoulders will sink a little bit more in towards the floor and feel a little bit more supported as well when you're doing it. Okay, last thing that I find really helpful, and there's 2 different ways that you can do this. If you have something to hang on, either a bar, a door frame, or if you're going to the park, or you can hang on one of the climbing frame bars, or a tree, or anything like that. if you get the chance, try to hang. So the arms above, obviously the head, holding on, and that helps to ease a little bit of pressure on that shoulder pulling down, because it gets those muscles working and stretching up there. Alternatively, if you don't have those options, you can find a cushion. I've got a foam roller. It is good if it's something firm, so maybe 2 stacks of books. Work with what you've got. And you take a child's pose, but with your arms up like that. Now, I find that my elbows really drop down, which accentuates and pulls my shoulder blade down and accentuates the upper curve. So what I do is I internally rotate my arms. So my thumbs are dropping down in towards each other. The point of my elbow joint is pointing outwards, and I find that really helpful. Try and relax your hips. You can place your forehead on a towel or a cushion or something, but that lift there can really, again, ease the pressure. So if you've got a winged shoulder blade and it's wrapping round a lot like that, what you're trying to do is find the opposite movement, and so that lift here can really help ease the pressure and actually strengthen up the muscles that support the spine and the shoulder and the head and the neck. So you can take 5 to 10 breaths here. Try and relax the hips, drop your tailbone down towards your heels. 3, breathing in and out through your nose. 4, 5, 6. Keep dropping those thumbs down, slight bend in your elbows, the elbow lifts. 7, 8. Breathing into your diaphragm. 9. Even breathing into your neck muscles. And 10. Just bring your arms down. Roll up. Good. And you can take rest afterwards and just lay yourself down and do some breathing or just relax after you've done it. It's just taking some time to breathe, relax your nervous system, time for yourself. So yeah, those exercises I find great for my wing shoulder blade, my upper curve, and just in general kind of like anti-sitting and just making my Caucasian shoulders feel a lot better and a lot more open, rather than kind of being rounded like so and dropping and moving into my compensations. So give it a go. I hope that helps, and yeah, send me your comments down below. I'd love to hear how this, if this works for you, and any questions as well. So thanks for watching. You can find me on Instagram as well, where I do some short versions of videos, and I hope to see you soon.